Are you ready to turn heads? Luxury isn't just worn, it's experienced. Introducing a Layla Cara style and new up-and-coming designer collection where exclusive shoes and bags for men and women meets your feet. How about you take a handbag and wear it in style, where each piece is personally designed by Layla Carroll herself and handcrafted from the finest material in Italy. Leather, smooth like butter, bold, timeless, distinctly you. Step into true elegance and make your mark with a Layla Cara style where confidence meets craftsmanship. Visit a Layla Cara style and experience the luxury of art that you wear. Welcome to my podcast. My name is Alayla. As we all know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It is also Domestic Violence Awareness Month. All month long, I have been talking about domestic violence, posting on my social media platform about domestic violence. And the reason why I have been doing this is because I am a survivor of domestic violence. I never thought that I would be one of the ones in this category. I did not see it coming. And I also used to pride myself on not being a part of this category. And the reason for this podcast today is because I was in denial. And the topic today is called Do Not Be in Denial About the Truth. So I was in denial because I never saw myself being a victim of domestic violence. I always felt like if I fought back, that I would be able to call myself a fighter, not a victim. I wanted to be the person that would not lay there and take a punch or take bad things happening to me, bad words being spoken over me and to me. I always felt like I could be stronger than that I can fight my way out of it. My first marriage, I would say that's where it all began. In my very first marriage to my first husband, I have been married, I can say this is my third marriage now. And as we all know, we always say, I'm only going to get married one time and I'm never going to do it again. Well, that's not my case. So I can't speak on only getting married once, and I'm not able to talk about that. So I can only talk about my own experience, and I can also talk about what I've learned throughout my experience. In my first marriage to my first husband, we was both young, 23 years old, getting married. We had no business getting married. This is what I tell people today. Back then, I thought I was ready for marriage. I thought I was, I can do it all. That's how I felt. Like, okay, I can live the life that I'm living and be a wife. But I had no idea how tough it was going to be married to somebody who had an idea of what a wife was supposed to be like. The idea of what my ex-husband felt that I should have been like was I was supposed to cater to him, stay home, and be a housewife. He didn't want me to work. And when you're young like that, you really think that that's a good idea. Because you, as a woman, you're like, hey, I don't gotta work. He's gonna take care of everything. Hey, why not? So I went for it. The problem is that I was warned before I actually went for it. We was getting premarital counseling. We didn't stay in it long. We only did maybe 3 sessions with the counselor, and he was actually a pastor, and he wanted to marry us. But as we continue in our counseling session, he came out with it and he said, I don't believe that the two of y'all should be getting married at this time. How about you wait, give yourselves more time, then get married. But as of right now, I will not marry you guys. And he meant that. And we was saying, what do you mean? Why won't you marry us? What you talking about? I don't get it. So at that time, we was eager to become husband and wife that we didn't even take in consideration what he was actually saying to us. What he was telling us was, you're not ready. Point blank. Give yourself more time to find out if you two are even compatible for each other, because listening to what you are saying, what y'all are talking about, is immature, and this is not what marriage is about. So at that time, I was a club goer. I loved going out to the club. That was something that I enjoyed doing. I felt like, hey, I'm young. Why not get out here and pop it, drop it, and all that other good stuff? But my husband at the time, he was like, no, you're my wife. You're not supposed to do these things anymore. You're supposed to be at home with me. What I did not understand at that time was that we was both young, 24 years old now. What do you mean that we just gonna sit in the house and do nothing? This is ludicrous. It makes no sense. And not to mention, we met each other at the club. So I was so dumbfounded when he did not want to go clubbing anymore. It made no sense to me. So he also had a way about him that he did not want me to show any parts of my body. I could not show too much skin. I must be covered up. And this man is 24 years old. He's only 32 days older than me. I did not get the fact that he was literally painting a picture of how I was supposed to be as his wife. Now, the first counselor who counseled us before we got married, what he said was, I don't want to look back 5 years from now and I see one of you guys by yourself and I ask you, where's your spouse? And you tell me, we're divorced. Because that is where you're headed before you even get started. He was absolutely correct. Me and my first husband, we did not last. We barely got to our second anniversary. And even with the second anniversary, we was separated. We fought like cats and dogs throughout that marriage. When I say cats and dogs, I'm talking about I was the cat, he was the dog, and I was clawing into him and he was trying to drag me. But at that time, I didn't see that as being abuse. I didn't even see it being a domestic violent situation because I fought back. And I literally thought that it was okay. As long as I ain't sitting there taking a punch and allowing this man to put his hands all on me and I don't do nothing, then I'm okay. I can tell you, police officers showed up at our place so many times that they started knowing us by name. Mrs. Theodore, if you keep this up, we're going to take you to jail. Mr. Theodore, if you keep this up, we're going to take you to jail. But I always wonder, why didn't they take us to jail? One of the things that I found out later on in life is the reason why they didn't take us to jail because the grace of God. I had a future ahead of me that I didn't know that was coming. And if I would have went to jail for domestic violence back then, I would not have been able to get my now son now, who wasn't even born yet at the time. So let me give you some stories on how that marriage was. My wedding dress that I had when we got married, he cut it up in little bitty pieces because he was mad at me because I did not tell him that I was going shopping to buy some clothes. The outfit that I bought to go out that night, he did not like it. And he also took that outfit and hid it somewhere. He didn't cut it up, but he hid it somewhere. I don't know where he hid it, but he hid it somewhere. And I was so raged about it that I started doing little knick-knack things around the house. I took his PlayStation. At the time, he had a PlayStation. I don't even know what kind it was, but he played a lot of video games. Keep in mind, we're young. He played a lot of video games. So I took the PlayStation, I slammed it to the ground, broke it in pieces. Here we are, going at it We going at it. We are literally going at it. Then there was times when I decided I'm going to go outside and I'm going to slash his tires off his Jeep. And I went outside and I didn't slash the tires, but what I did, I took a piece of pin, a needle or a pin or something, I can't remember what it was, and I let the air out the tire. I did not flat the tire by jigging a hole into it. I just released all the air out of all four tires. He had no idea that I did it until he came outside ready to go somewhere and he couldn't go anywhere. Not only did I flat the tires, I took the steering wheel off the car. Yes, the whole steering wheel. I managed to get it off and I took it. That's when the police was called because he called the police on me. Police come in the house while I'm upstairs. We had a townhome loft and I was in the bed like as if nothing happened. Police come up there and he's like, Mrs. Theodore, your husband, he is telling us that you flat his tires, but you also took his steering wheel off the car. Although it is community property, because in the state of Texas, when you're married, it's considered community property. You don't have to worry about going to jail behind that kind of stuff due to the fact that it is practically yours too. And he was like, well, can you give him back his steering wheel? And I was like, no, I'm not doing it. And I was mad because he had cut up my wedding dress. And I was upset that he took my outfit that I wanted to go out with that night. Keep in mind, all this fight was behind control. He wanted to control me and I wouldn't let him. And because I had fight inside of me, we fought with each other. Is that good or is it bad? No, it's actually bad. Really bad. And it's so bad to the point to where I knew that after we divorced, I did not want to relive that kind of life again. I wanted to make sure that I behaved my own self. I wanted to behave myself. Now, let's talk about anger. What is anger? Anger is an emotion characterized by animosity toward someone or something you feel has deliberately done you wrong. Anger could be good. It can give you a way to express negative feelings, for example, or motivate you to find solution to a problem. But excessive anger can cause problems. One of the problems that excessive anger could cause is rage. Rage turns into violence and uncontrollable anger, which causes you to really act out and cause damage to things. The pastor who did wind up marrying us, he was also counseling us, so at least he was trying. He would come out to the house every time we got into it, and he would see how much we have destroyed the house and how much we have destroyed our property. And one of the things he has said, he will say, and he said this multiple times, and it have stuck with me ever since that time I heard it the very first time. He said, I do not understand how y'all could sit here and break your own stuff and later on have to turn around and replace it. What sense does that mean? What sense does it make? It makes no sense at all. And as he said that, I thought about it. I said, he is so right. Because how many tires have we replaced? Because not to mention, when I flattened my ex-husband's tires, he also flattened mine. When he saw that my tire was flat, he punctured holes into my tires. Then he broke out my window. Oh, this was crazy. I'm telling you, we had a madhouse, and it was just the two of us and a dog. So here we are at each other's throat constantly, all because my ex-husband wanted to control me, and I did not want to be controlled. It was period. We was going to fight because One of the things I did not really take into accountability was that when I was younger, my older brother and I used to fight like that too. So this stems all the way back to childhood. He had his issues from his childhood, and I had my issues from my childhood. Things that we never addressed and never took care of. We never took care of the emotional buildup that was caused by traumatic situations while we was younger as children. We become adults and we act out on each other. We were supposed to be lovers, not fighters, but we fought each other as if we were enemies. Have you ever seen that movie, Love and War? At the end of the movie, the husband and the wife, they fight like crazy, and they end up killing each other in that house because they saw each other as their own enemy. That is not the way life is supposed to be when you get married. You're not supposed to fight like that. Now, I can say that I have this issue with my ex-husband before we got married, or did he come after? In this particular case, the rage with my ex-husband and myself, it came after the marriage. Before we got married, we wound up together in a bad situation. When we met at a club. I wasn't even supposed to have been there that night. At that club, I wasn't supposed to have been there. I was literally somewhere else in another city, and I got a phone call from my best friend telling me about a new club that had just opened and she wanted to go out. Well, I was like, well, I was going to stay the night here in this place, but okay, how about I go ahead and just drive on back to San Antonio and go out with y'all? And we had a group of us that would go out. I would say about maybe 10 to 11 of us would go out together. And this is guys and girls, not just only girls or only guys. It was a lot of us. So we would all go out together. We had an entourage. It was fun. And that's what we enjoyed doing. I met my ex-husband at this particular club at the time. And the name of the club was called Arjun's. That club is no longer existed. But at that club, I met him there. He liked me. I thought he was cute, but I wasn't really into him at the time. I didn't see him like, oh, I want to get to know this guy. It wasn't like that. He wanted to get to know me. So he talked to my best friend, Tamika. They actually knew each other from high school. And she told him, if you want to get to know her, start coming over to my house and you will get a chance to get to know her because she's always there. Well, she was right. She was correct. I was always there at her house. She had her own place. At this time, I was living with my mom, and I was thinking like, okay, let me see what this man is about. And we talked over the phone, good conversation. He lived in Houston at that time. He did not live in San Antonio, so he would drive down on the weekend to spend time with me. He was working at his dad's business. They had owned their own company, and that's what he would do. So on the weekend, he would show up. He spent a lot of time with me over the weekend. One particular moment that he spent more than just the weekend with me, it became over a week time of him staying with me. My mom started tripping out because she did not want any man staying in the house, because she felt like if a man gonna live with us, then he gonna have to pay some bills, because ain't no way no man gonna live with us. That's how she felt. So she started asking me questions like, is he gonna stay here any longer because he gonna have to pay rent or something come next month? And I thought it was rude of her to even be that way, because I was telling her, no, he don't live here. He have his own place in Houston somewhere. Come on now. But no, she wasn't trying to hear. She was serious about that. And it became a problem to where she started making it difficult for us to enjoy ourselves in the home. Well, to make a long story short, she ended up kicking me out. She threw all my things outside in front of him. And me and my mom was getting into it. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to go. who I'm going to live with, because this is definitely unexpected. And not to mention that I had gave up my own apartment to come help her with this house that she had just bought, because she needed help with some expenses there. And I was really in a bind when I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, where I was going to go. So that's how me and my ex-husband, my first husband, we got together. It was pretty much like we was forced. I had my mind made up that I didn't want to live with a man. I really wanted to have the opportunity to do it the right way, to have a husband. But we end up moving in with each other by force because I had nowhere else to go. I could have went to my friend Tamika's house, but Tamika had her own situation and I didn't want to be involved in that. So I felt like, well, let me see where things are gonna go with him and see how things are gonna be. So we didn't even really know each other. We ended up moving in with each other. We moved in with him and his sister for a little while because he ended up leaving the place in Houston to come to San Antonio. Why? Don't ask. Makes no sense. You would think I would have went to Houston, but that wasn't going to happen. Not at all. Because I did not want to just up and root myself somewhere where all my friends was in San Antonio. That shit wasn't going to happen. So he decided that, hey, how about we get a place in San Antonio and go from there? That's what we did. I made a statement to him: when this lease is up, I'm moving out. I'm going to have my own place, or you move out and I keep this place. Either way it go, we're not going to stay together unless we're married. That's how the proposal came about. It was 11 months, 1 month before the lease was up. He got on one knee and proposed. Okay, I accepted. Why not? Not knowing exactly how things was going to turn out after we were married. The two of us end up moving to Houston, Texas together because that's where he was already at in the first place. So now he was able to get me to Houston, and I'm there. And I'm looking for a job. He didn't want me to work. No, you don't have to work. I take care of everything. But you're taking care of everything and you're controlling everything at the same time. I don't like it. I need my own money. I need to be able to have my own independence somewhere in this marriage. You cannot control everything. But he knew that if I had no money, he could control everything. Because when he gave me money, I have to spend it on whatever he was okay with me spending it on. And I did not like it. So, what do you think I did?
We'll be back after a quick break.
If you haven't already, check out my luxury shoe and bag collection, a Layla Cara style. Each piece is personally designed by me and handcrafted from genuine Italian leather. Whether you're dressing up or keeping it casual, these pieces were made to help you walk with confidence. Because real style starts from how you feel. Go to alaylacarolstyle.com and experience these bold, timeless, and completely all you. Check it out. You might find something you like. I went out and got me a job. When I got hired at Hewlett-Packard Company, building computers and servers, he did not like it. So he did whatever it took in his power to try to get me fired. I was working the overnight shift. Why did I take the overnight shift instead of working in the day? Because I needed a break from him. This man was literally driving me crazy. Every time we was together, it was something that he would do that we end up in an argument for before the night was over. So what the point? If we're going to argue by the end of the night, how about I just go ahead and start working at night and not have to worry about you? So I end up taking on a night shift job, which I had to be at work between the hours of 6 p.m. and got off at 6 a.m. Yes, that was 12 hours. I remember my first night at work When I came home that morning, I took myself, laid in the bed, was taking a nap, well, going to sleep, not necessarily taking a nap. I woke up, my car was gone. It's 2 p.m. My car is gone. I know I don't have no transportation to get to work. Uber did not exist back then. So I had no way of getting to work. This is 2003. How am I going to get to work? So I call him and I say, hey, where's my car? Bring me my car. And he's telling me, oh, I'll be there. I'll be there. But at the same time, his car was missing too. So here it is. You got both of the vehicles? What's this about? But remember, I'm just waking up, so I'm still not completely all together. It didn't dawn on me that his vehicle was gone too until I said, well, then I'll just drive your car to work. But then when I go outside again to check, his car is gone too. Both of us are basically doing tug of war with each other because I'm pulling in one direction, he's pulling in another direction. So when I called him back up again, I say, why do you have both vehicles? Where's my car? Why? And I could hear in the background someone talking. And I knew who it was. It was his cousin. So now I said, okay, I know exactly where he's at now. He's at his cousin's house. I know where his cousin live at. But I still did not grasp what was happening until he said, I hope you get fired. I'm not coming home tonight. I will not be bringing the vehicles home either. I hope they fire you. And he hung up in my face. That's when I realized that this dude here has a problem. But he will not get over on me. So what I did, I ended up calling my boss. I humbled myself out of my shameness because I was feeling ashamed to even talk to my boss about this. But I did not want to lose my job because I finally had something that I was enjoying to do. And the money was great. And I didn't want to lose it. So I told my boss what was happening. And he understood. And this is what he told me. He said, I understand. I hate that you're going through this. You did a good thing by calling me to let me know. Take as long as you need. I'm going to hold your job. I'm going to hold your position for you. This is horrible. And in your situation that you got going on, you do need a job so you can get out of that situation. And I said, thank you, thank you, thank you. Then I was on a mission. After I hung up, I was on a mission. My mission was, I'm finna go get my car. Oh yeah, I'm finna go get my car. So I had recently met somebody previously when I had moved to Houston for the first time. It was a guy. Yes, he liked me, but I was not sexually involved with him, nor was I dating him or doing anything with him. But he had gave me his phone number, and he told me these words: if you ever need a friend and you want someone to talk to, call me. And I said, okay, let me call. Before I even called him, I ended up calling the police first. And I wanted to see what I could do in that situation to not go to jail. So I asked the officer, what can I do specifically to not go to jail? And he said, well, you can go to court. Take him to civil court. I said, you know how long that's going to take? For me to go to court, this man going to have my car all this time. By the time a court date is set, come on, man. I got to be able to get to work. And he was like, well, if you know where he's at, you can just go get your car back. Do you have extra set of keys to the car? I said, yes, I do. He said, well, if you could get your car back without disturbing him to make a scene and start fighting each other, then go get your car back. It is your car. And at that time, I had that car before we even got married. So that really made me mad. I was so mad because I'm thinking like, how is this community property when I had this car before I married this man? So there's no way this should be community property. And I was on a mission. So I ended up calling my friend, and his name was Mark. So I called him up and I said, Mark, hey, this is what's going on. I told him what's happening. I said, I really need to get my car. He thought it was a cool idea because he felt like, oh man, this is a mission. Heck yeah, let's do that. So He had his 16-year-old son with him. His son was listening in on the conversation. I think he had me on speakerphone or something because he was like, "Yeah, Dad, come on, let's go help her go get her car." And, and I was thinking, okay, well, we're gonna get this ball rolling then. So I put on all black. I had my black boots on, my black pants, sweatpants. I had a black sweatshirt. I put on a black hoodie, a black what you call it, that skull cap thing on your head, so that way my hair wouldn't show. And I was ready. And I said, I know exactly where he's at. Let's give it some time. Let's wait till it get dark. When it gets dark, then we're gonna go over there. So we drove over there. We drove around the parking lot, and I said, "There go my car right there." He saw my car. We saw my car. I said, "So this is what we're gonna do. I said, you're gonna go ahead. You're gonna park over there at a distance. Turn your light off. Keep your car running though, because if I need to run to get in that car or take off, we're gonna do that. But I shouldn't have to. I'm gonna get in my car and we're gonna drive off, and you just follow behind me." So I'm looking upstairs and I can see the bedroom light on where his cousin stayed at. And I can see they was in some apartment. So I can see that I saw like a shadow in the window. So I'm like, okay, let me kind of creep, and I'm finna get my car. So I get in my car. I do not turn the light on. I crank it up. I back it out and drove off. He followed behind me. We got to my car. I said, okay, I need to get my stuff and get out of here. I said, but I told dude, Mark, I said, you can go ahead and go. Thank you. I can take it from here. I end up calling a friend of mine, which her name is Chris. And I called her up and I said, hey, I'm going to have to come and stay at your house for a little while because I'm not going to stay here tonight. I don't want to fight with this dude. Well, as I was grabbing some clothes, I didn't think that part through. I should have had my clothes and stuff ready before. As I was grabbing clothes, I got in the car. Well, I was trying to put clothes in the car. He showed up, my ex-husband, he showed up with his cousin. And that's when I knew it was going to be a fight. I knew it. I said, okay, I'm going to have to fight my way out of this. At this time, I was actually fed up. I was done. I was ready for the marriage to be over with. I was already done because now you are literally controlling everything. And I did not want to be controlled. What I ended up doing, I had some mace that I had gotten from my previous relationship before him. It was an ex-boyfriend. He was also a police officer. He had gave me some mace because I had been telling him about the story that was happening with me and my ex-husband too. And one of the things he told me was stop fighting him because the police don't know who started what. And if they see bruises on him, they can take you to jail. And seeing bruises on you, they can take him to jail, or they can just take both of y'all to jail. All it takes is for the DA to pick this up. Why don't you just go ahead and just use this mace? And he gave it to me. He said, just spray him and get out. Well, I had the mace in my pocket because I had brought it with me to go get my car anyway. So I had the mace in my pocket. And I'm like, okay, how I'm going to do this? But I was determined to not allow him to take my car again. Not while I was awake. It will be a fight. That's how I felt. We gonna fight. We gonna fight. So, how tall is my ex-husband? He's about the same height as me, probably 1 inch taller than me. I'm 5'8", he's 5'9", somewhere up in there. Not really a big dude at all. Medium built frame. Am I ready to take him on and fight him? Well, yeah, I was. But I knew that things had to be different. I had the mace in my pocket and I'm thinking like, okay, if I just spray him, maybe we can go. But this is when it got serious. He told his cousin, who had came with him, get in the car and drive off. I ran outside of the house, jumped in the back seat of my car. At this time, he was running behind me too. So he jumped in the driver's seat because his cousin was in the driver's seat but slid over to the passenger seat. And I'm thinking like, what is going on? This is different. This ain't what I'm used to now. And what I want to clarify is that when I got hired at Hewlett Packard, leading up to the day that he took my car, he hadn't slept in probably 3 days. at all. He was up. I remember getting up in the middle of the night, looking in the living room area, and he's on the couch playing a video game. And I'm thinking, this dude has lost his mind. Well, not only that he lost his mind, he was starting to show it now. So we was in the car. As we was driving, we was on this FM farm to market highway. And at this time, there was hardly anything around. It is going on 2 o'clock in the morning. So there's not even a police in sight. And I'm sitting there in the back seat while they're driving up this road. And I'm telling him, just get out the car and go. This marriage is over with. I want a divorce. At this time, I'm pretty much done with the marriage. I'm fed up with all the stuff that's been happening with us. I'm just over it. And if he could get me fired, that means that I'm going to be dependent upon him again. And I knew I needed to keep some form of independence and have my own money. But to get this man out of the car wasn't easy. It was not. He was not leaving the car without a fight. This was the first time that he literally put his hands on me. The first time that he put his hands on me, like punched me and kicked me. Before, it was always verbal and we was breaking each other's property. That's how it was. But now it became physical. How it became physical was that I was in the back seat of the car while he was driving. I put the car in park straight up and we jerked to the front. The car shifted and came to a hard stop. He reached back in the back seat and elbowed me in the head somewhere on my face. And then I got my mace and I sprayed him and his cousin. I sprayed both of them because I felt like his cousin should have known better and he was in on it too. And I don't know, I had these thoughts in my head like this man gonna try to take me somewhere and do something to me. I don't know what they trying to do, but it's not gonna happen tonight. Not with me. He jumped out the car, got in the back seat as I was trying to climb to the front and started kicking me with his feet. And I got the mace out again in my hand and I sprayed him again directly in the face. This time, I'm able to get into the front seat, get in the driver's seat, and I'm at a rage. When I say I am rage, my anger turned to rage. I'm ready to actually kill him. That's how furious I was. I put the car back into drive. And he jumps in front of the car like he's Superman and not going to be able to get injured. And I hit the gas. And when I hit the gas, he saw me driving in full speed trying to hit him. He took off running towards the field. It was an open field and it was a ditch. And I put the car in reverse. I made that turn like I was finna drive in that field and chased the both of them down. That's how bad it was. But you know what snapped me out of it? I heard the Holy Spirit talk to me. The Holy Spirit told me these words. He said, you got what you want. You got your car now. Just leave. And so, thank God that I was keen enough to listen to the Holy Spirit at that time. I said, you know what, you're right. I do got my car. And they're out of the car. So let me go ahead and go. So I backed up my car into reverse again, turned it around, and I left and I went to a friend's house. I went to Chris' house. Of course, I told her everything that was happening. I said, if he come over here, we're going to fight again. So I'm going to go ahead and leave and go to San Antonio. At this time, it was in Houston. So I'm going to go ahead and leave and go to San Antonio. I'm going to go to my mom's house and just leave it like that. Well, of course, we end up divorcing. And some more things happened throughout that process. I found out some more things. I had found out that he had a baby on the way. It was a lot of stuff that was happening during our course of our divorce. And when I say a baby on the way, we was divorcing in a small period of time. So this woman who was pregnant by him was 8 months pregnant. He had been sleeping with this woman. It was a lot of things that I didn't know. It really messed with my mental. It had me strongly in denial about what was happening with that situation. I could not sleep. I couldn't eat. I was hurt. I was pissed off. I was angry. I was furious. I was enraged. I knew if I saw him, I was going to do something to him. I ended up calling him after I found out he had a baby on the way. I called him on the phone to tell him, congratulations. That's how crazy it was. I'm like, congratulations on your new baby. I hear that you're having a girl. And he just got dead quiet and had nothing to say. I said, well, you know what this means? Divorce. We're going to divorce. There's no need for you to come back my way, and I would not come back your way. It's non-contested. We don't have any children together. So how about we just go ahead and just make this happen? But you are going to be the one to pay for the divorce. You're going to be the one who's going to file, and you're going to be the one to pay for it, because I'm not going to show up in court. I don't want to see you. I just want this to be over with. Mail me my divorce decree. I will sign it, and you don't have to worry about me anymore. At this time, when the divorce papers showed up, it was the month of February. And I held on to the papers until my birthday of April. When my birthday showed up, I gave that to myself as a birthday present to sign the papers and be done with this whole shenanigan. I didn't want nothing else to do with it. But with that type of trauma that I went through in 3 years of being married to him, yes, we didn't make it to our second anniversary, but we still was married even during our separation. And during the separation time, we were still seeing each other, trying to work on the marriage, trying to get back together, going through counseling, trying to see where we went wrong at and learn and understand each other. But there was nothing to work out anymore. And after the divorce, although it was a sweet signature on the paper, it was a bitter taste in my mouth. I was hurt. I didn't even understand why I went through all that. I felt like I was being punished because I was faithful to him the entire marriage. And I was trying to figure out where in that marriage did I go wrong. Now I can look back at it and I can dissect where I went wrong at. First, we got together without being sure of why we was together. I want to read a quote from my book, A Change in Directions by Alayla Cavett. Quote number 1 says, hold your tongue. The point to the quote says, take control of what comes out of your mouth is your responsibility. So I'm going to read it again. It says, taking control of what comes out of your mouth is your responsibility. You cannot place the blame on someone else. When you say something you didn't mean to say, remember saying, I'm sorry, doesn't always fix things. According to James chapter 1, verse 19 chapter 1, verse 19, yes. The New Living Translation, it says, understand this, my dear brothers and sisters, you must be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. I was not quick to listen. I was not slow to speak, and I was definitely not slow to anger. My rage was catching me. I did not care about nothing but making sure I wasn't going to be controlled. That was my whole thought process while I was married. This man is trying to control me. He wants to control everything. He wants me to let him know when I'm going to the store. He wants me to let him know what I'm buying at the store. He wants to make sure that I don't go nowhere. He wants me to stay in the house with him. All he do is play video games all damn day. I don't want to do that. I want to go out. I want to have fun. I want to live a normal, happy 20-some-year-old life. That's how I felt. Now I'm going to read quote number 2. It says, be slow to anger. The point to this quote says, anger is like a disease. It takes over your mind, your body. It spreads through you like a wildflower in an open field. When you allow anger to enter your heart, before long it could become cancerous. It causes your actions to become regretful, and people along with yourself could get hurt. According to James chapter 1 verse 20 through 21, the New Living Translation, human anger does not produce the righteousness God Yahweh desires. So get rid of all the filth and evil in your lives and humbly accept the word Yahweh has planted in your hearts, for it has the power to save your souls. During the time of my marriage to my ex-husband, I did not attend church very often. Every now and then we did go to church, but we was going just because the pastor who was counseling us was also the pastor who married us, and he was inviting us to come to his church. So was I getting anything out of the service? No. I was just there because I was choosing to be there, because I felt that it was just the right thing to do. When I divorced my ex-husband, when we got divorced, I felt that I needed a deeper connection to God. This is when God started working on me, but I was rebellious. I did not allow myself to be all in. So yes, I was still going out clubbing. I was still enjoying myself. I was still doing things that I wanted to do, but I kept feeling the tug. I kept feeling God tugging on me, telling me to change, do something different. You know, when we're young like that, we don't see what the future could be. We don't see what we could be in our future. We want to enjoy the right now. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to enjoy the right now. I always felt like, hey, I'm not going to have this body looking like this for a long time. I'm not going to be able to be out there partying the way I am right now. So let me just get it all in while I can. Was I wrong in the things that I was doing while I was married to my first husband? Yes, I was wrong. I was wrong in so many ways, and I didn't want to repeat those things. I didn't want that to happen all over again. So, my second marriage, I operated differently. Did it help? I don't know. I can't say yes, it helped, or no, it didn't. But what I can say, I definitely did not act the same way I acted in my first marriage with my second marriage. I was completely different. I literally got married 10 years later after my divorce to my first husband. I got married to my second husband 10 years later. Was it an abusive marriage? Yes, it was. I thought to myself, how in the world I go through all that with my first husband, and then I turn around and pretty much almost go through the same with my second, except I did not put on the same action that I put on the very first time. I did not act out the way I did the first time. And there was occasions when I started almost reforming back to that person. That was occasions that I started like, if I did this, maybe he will understand that he can't treat me like this. But I kept hearing God tell me, no, do not fight him the way you fought your first husband. Don't do that. This time, follow my guidance, follow my lead, and I will show you how to fight your second husband in warfare. Instead of fighting him in the natural, you're going to fight him in the spiritual. And did I go on a journey fighting my second husband in the natural. I went on a journey. I broke down so many times. I was so unsure about a lot of things. And then I became sure about those things as I continued to fight a warfare fight with this man. He was different from the first husband because he had so much pent up anger inside of him. And I mean, his anger was rage and jealousy and just so much hatred towards women that I have never seen before. and I have never dealt with before. In this case that I was dealt with and I was handed over to, I had to get my mind right. I had to get my body right. And I had to get my spirit right. There was no way that I would have won that fight with my second husband, without the warfare that I had to learn how to do. The next video, I'm going to share that story with you with my second husband and exactly how I had to fight it. When I look back on things, I always say if it wasn't for the Lord and the strength that he gave me, I don't know what today would be like. I don't need to know what today would be like because I'm not living that life anymore. Well, signing out, Alayla. Stay tuned for part 2 to this. This is part 1. Part 2's the next video. Are you feeling overwhelmed and exhausted by stress? Introducing Stress Management with Imaging Coaching, your ticket to a calmer, more balanced life. In this journey you will be taking with us here at Imaging Coaching, we'll equip you with powerful techniques and tools you can use to conquer stress, regain control, and transform your life. From deep breathing exercises to mindfulness practices, you'll discover the tools to relax your mind and body. Come join us on this transformative path and unlock a world of inner peace and resilience. Don't let stress hold you back any longer. Take charge of your well-being today with Imaging Coaching, your stress management team. Discover clarity. Defeat stress through Imaging Coaching at imagingcoaching.com. At imagingcoaching.com. At imagingcoaching.com. At imagingcoaching.com.